So hopefully this remembers our previous save data.
The wooden panel indicates
Yay!
locations such as the completion of all training facilities. Use it to choose your next training area.
Sorry, I think I'm still playing a different game, so click. We click. Space. No. Oh, shit. I've changed my camera. Right. Tutorial
This
Island.
facility contains all the machines and equipment you will need to survive on Mars. We will begin with a presentation of power generation machines.
Right, where's our objective? Enter area. Okay, so put that down, Brian. You shouldn't be touching it at all.
This is the radioisotope thermoelectric generator, also known as RTG.
Okay.
Learn more by using the speaker. The RTG is an electrical generator utilizing the thermoelectric effect. The electricity is produced through the conversion of the heat released by the decay of radioactive material. Despite an output of only a few hundred watts, the half-life of the used isotope provides the capacity for a constant power supply spanning many years. It is provided with 2 standard output sockets and a standard display. Let's plug in the power cable. We are going to use the RTG shortly. This panel displays on the left the electrical power generated by the RTG, and on the right its draining load. The load is currently at 0, as it is not connected to any machine. Great, this is a communications tower. It serves as a beacon for your map.
Switch it on then.
Knowing your exact location, such as of your crew and your machines, is vital on Mars. Hence, communications towers create an information network when they are in range of each other. Your interactive map will connect to the nearest comms tower and displays information about anything covered by the network. The communications tower is operational now. Use the map key to open it. Good work. Now proceed to your next objective. A cable spool can contain up to 5 power cables. As a cable is 10 meters long, they are rolled up on the spool for easier transport. Learn more about power cables by using the speaker. Power cables have a red end and a green end. The red is for input. For example, to a machine.
Jesus Christ!
The RTG.
I feel like I'm at college.
Green is for output. For example, to a machine requiring energy. Like
But it's logical.
Observe the sockets on each machine. The color code will inform you about the correct connection. Red to green, or green to red. You can unwind the cable by clicking on the spool with the unwind key. Too easy, right? Now grab that cable and rewind it onto the cable spool. Now that you've learned how to handle power cables, move on to the power hub. This is a power hub. It serves as a connector bridge between power generators and machines.
Okay. I've got to click speaker again.
The power hub has 6 red input sockets on the right and 6 green output sockets on the left. It allows you to connect a maximum of 6 power generators to the input sockets and distribute power to up to 6 machines via the output sockets. The display on the left shows the sum of power generated in the electricity network, or grid, expressed in watts. The right shows the current electricity load. The bottom line informs about the power stored in the hub batteries and the estimated load duration. As you can see behind you, you can connect several hubs together to reduce the amount of cables needed for supplying the machines with electricity. Plug that cable to an input socket before we move on.
What cable? Oh, the one that's dangling it.
Now, it's time to have a look at the solar array. A solar array, also referred as a solar panel, absorbs the rays of the sun and processes them into electricity. The solar array is made of 2 panels that convert the solar power to electricity, utilizing the photovoltaic effect. 2 additional batteries can store up to several kilowatts per hour of electricity. One solar array can generate over 2 times more power than the RTG. However, its efficiency depends exclusively on the amount of solar energy available. It's also provided with 2 output sockets and a power display. Now plug in that cable to connect the solar array to the power hub. Great! You now have the required knowledge about power generators for your future mission on Mars. That should come in handy. We will now focus on this is a Topsoil Extractor.
A
Its
what?
sole function is to extract the soil from the surface.
Okay. And we'll listen to the speaker again, won't you?
The Topsoil Extractor uses a flexible hose to gather the surface of the soil, in the same way as a vacuum cleaner. The extracted resource is collected into barrels that must be plugged in prior to its usage. It has 2 input sockets for its energy supply, such as a standard display informing about its energy usage. The large Topsoil Extractor, like this one, proposes 4 barrel plugs. A small version, less energy demanding, embarks only 1 plug. Use that cable to supply the Topsoil Extractor so we can use it.
Easy, Tiger.
Perfect. Now that the machine is powered, you have to plug in the resource barrel. Now, connect the barrel to an empty slot. Perfect. We can now continue with the atmospheric processor.
Yeah, look at it go. Well, you're there. Come here a minute. Ah, good. Chris, this guy doesn't look too happy, does he? Right.
This is the atmospheric processor. It captures the surrounding atmosphere. The atmosphere is drawn in through an air pump and redirected into resource barrels that collects the air. The large atmospheric processor accepts up to 5 barrel plugs, whereas the small energy efficient atmospheric processor proposes 1 plug only. Connect the cable so we can collect the Earth atmosphere. Perfect. Now that the machine is powered, you have to plug in the resource barrel. Now, connect the barrel to an empty slot. When properly supplied with air, let the processor work and move to the drilling rig.
Right.
This is a drilling rig, used for excavation.
This is bloody complicated.
A twist drill bit penetrates the crust with a fast rotation. The raw material is then lifted up through a borehole via the cutting edges. The extracted rock is stored into barrels. This large drilling rig proposes 4 barrel slots and a standard display panel, while the small version has 1 plug. Connects the machine to a cable so we can dig up some earth rock. Perfect. Now that the machine is powered, now connect the barrel on each machine. Do not omit to pay attention to the power display. You can monitor the machine's energy requirements, the overall power available on the grid, and the potential usage duration. Do not forget that a machine cannot operate with barrels filled with improper resources. For example, an earth soil barrel plugged to a drilling rig. If you do so, the machine will just stop working. Do not get confused. Let's move on to the next machine.
Oh, bloody hell, man.
This is a materials refinery, a beautiful piece of engineering that can refine raw resources into materials or compounds. The materials refinery has 2 main functions. It can either split complex materials into their constituent components, or it can synthesize compounds from core materials. Input and output slots are located on each side of the refinery. The large materials refinery comes with 3 input and 5 output slots. The small one has respectively 2 input and 3 output slots. A control panel allows for the operations of the desired reaction. Plug in the cable so we can start to put our hands on this machine. The refinery is now powered. Why don't we try it out on some raw material we've just collected? Let's split some rock. Take one of the earth rock barrels from the drilling rig and plug it into a free input slot of the refinery. Remember, input slots are on the left of the materials refinery. The input barrel is connected. Now, earth rock's second splitting reaction produces 4 elements, so we need 4 output barrels. 3 barrels are connected already. The 4th one should be nearby. This barrel is partially filled with oxygen, which is one of the elements of the splitting earth rocks reaction. Plug it into a free output slot at the right side of the refinery. Good job! Now move to the control panel. We will finalize the last parameters before initiating the process. Note here is displayed the reactions list screen. It shows all the reactions the materials refinery is capable of processing. Select Split Earth Rock 2 to access the reactions details, required input materials, and expected output components. In our case, 5 units of earth rock, the input material, will generate 2 units of oxygen, 1 of silicon, 1 of aluminium, and 1 unit of iron, the 4 output components. To navigate through the control panel, use the centered mouse cursor, not the free cursor. To ease the reading, you can hold the zoom key to zoom. When you're ready, close the reaction list screen to access the processing screen.
Process earth rock into oxygen. Silicon, aluminium and iron, okay.
The processing screen permits you to manage the reaction according to the raw material in input. Select the input slots, earth rock in our case, with the left mouse button. Now, select all the output slots. Keep in mind that an incomplete or improper selection will cause an interruption of the process.
Oxygen, silicon, aluminium and iron.
Once all the correct slots are selected, the reaction is ready to be performed. Click on the process materials to proceed. And voila! When the materials refinery is processing, you can monitor the decrease of the input material and the production of the output components as you wish. Now let's move on to the next device.
This game is amazing.
This huge thing is the resource tank. It is used to store large quantities of resource. 2 input slots for transferring from a barrel into the tank, and 2 output slots for collecting the stored resource into individual barrels, plus a simple display for capacity monitoring. It's as simple as that. Let's completely fill that oxygen barrel. Plug it into an output slot of the resource tank.
Yeah, Brian, that was great. Almost. There we go.
As you can see, the quantity of resource decreases from the tank, filling up the barrel until it's full, or until the tank is depleted. The materials refinery should now have produced enough oxygen from the earth rock. Bring it to the resource tank.
Bringing it to the resource tank. Going to plug it in.
Observe the oxygen of the barrel being stored in the resource tank. No need to say that you can't plug in the barrel whose resource differs from the element stored in the tank. We're almost done. The last thing to learn is the 3D printer. Go through the gates to the printer testing area. 2 types of 3D printers are available.
Yes!
Start with the Creative Printer on your right. This is the Creative 3D Printer. It's a user-friendly type of printer. The Creative 3D Printer is able to build any machine or equipment you've ever dreamed of. It doesn't require any resource or power, and the printing duration is very short. The printer uses blueprints for printing an item.
Hey!
Blueprints are detailed construction diagrams that expand what the printer can build. This is the Creative 3D Printer menu, where you have access to the printer. Selecting a category displays the list of related objects in the central panel. Go deeper in the filters to refine your selection. Selecting an object will show its details on the right side of the menu. You can also see the Create button that initiates the printing process of the selected object. A holographic image represents the object currently printed. This helps you assess its actual size and also serves as a safety to avoid printing objects larger than the available space. Now comes the inventory of the printer. Close the printer menu by clicking the cross on the top right or pressing the escape key.
That was quick. Right, where do we go now? Okay. Where do we go now? So that's done. Damn it, I've screwed up somehow. Okay. Right. Let's see, I'm not finished. What have I got to do? Create 3D printer that prints without resources or power. Open printer invented by holding the use key or pressing the invented I key while pointing at it.
This is the Creative
Okay.
3D Printer's inventory. Blueprints come as data disks. They must be stored in the data disk slots. Note that if you filter machines, then printers, you will access the list of objects required for building your own larger modular printer. Equipped with a construction tool, the modular printer is built the same way as a base. That's all you need to know about the Creative 3D Printer. Good job. Now the last part, 3D printer. Now it's time to proceed to the Modular 3D Printer. The Modular 3D Printer is a realistic printing device. Firstly, its size can be increased by adding more pieces to a basic small modular printer. Edge, base, ramp extension, resources slots edge, etc. The larger the size, the bigger and more complex objects it can print. Secondly, it needs different types of resources for printing, depending on the object. Slots are available for plugging in any type of resources barrel. Objects that require more resources or a bigger printer are clearly indicated. Let's print something. Open the modular printer menu by pressing the use key while looking at the control panel. This menu is similar to the creative printers. The main difference lies in the required resources for printing, as indicated at the bottom right. Note that if you filter machines, then printers, you will access the list of objects required for building your own larger modular printer. Equipped with a construction tool, the modular printer is built the same way as a base. Now, choose the object you wish to print and create it. A printing time is required, depending on the object. The bigger, the longer. Do remember that you will need to enlarge the modular printer piece by piece for printing very large objects. Even a huge vehicle like a cargo truck can be built, provided that enough resources are available.
Cool.
Congratulations for completing the machines training. That wasn't easy, but you managed it like a pro. Surviving on Mars should now be no problem. You can now pursue your training by using the board.
Right, I'm going to leave this video here and we'll do the next part in the next video. So if you guys would like to be kept up to date with future videos on the channel, subscribe and don't forget to click on that little bell to be notified when the next episode of this comes out, because I'm going to play it through. We'll do the next part of the training and then we'll go to Mars. Alright, so yeah, drop me a like, leave me a thumbs up, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers, bye.